everyone, Inat Kessler here with a new video tutorial, and today I'll show you 2 ideas to make pop-up pages in your albums. 8 1/4 by 8 3/4 page and score it on 8 1/4 and then fold it and attach it to our other 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 black cardstock square. Like always, you have all the measurements in the cutting guide and written instructions that you can download. And let's glue them together. This is our page, our base, and we're going to make a really fun pop-up page today. Let's put that aside, and we will continue with creating our pop-up mechanism. So we have our second black cardstock, or whatever cardstock you're using. It's 12 by 8. And we're going to put it lengthwise while the 8 side is on the top, and we're going to create 2 slits, and we're going to start to cut the cardstock not from the edge but from 1/4 inch, and then we're going to go all the way down until 1/4 inch from the bottom edge. So this is our first slit, and we're going to do that on the 2 3/4 line. We're going to align our cardstock with 2 3/4 and then cut from 1/4 inch on the top to 1/4 inch on the bottom. We're going to repeat that on 5 1/4. Again, cutting from 1/4 inch from the edge, from the bottom or top edge, all the way to 1/4 inch from the other edge. So we're going to have 2 slits in the center of our page that don't go all the way to the edge. That's very important, like this. See? And now we can go ahead and score our page. We're going to align it while the 12 inches edge is facing the top of our trimmer or our cutting board, and then we're going to align it with 3 and then score it, and then at 6, and then finally just make sure that it doesn't move, and then finally at 9. So we're basically making squares on our black cardstock. Now we're going to score between the 2 cut lines in the center while aligning our cardstock at 1/4 inch. So basically we're just making a fold line from where the cuts start, which is 1/4 inch from the edge, and only in the center, in between the 2 cut lines. So these are all our score lines. You have a diagram also that you can watch and see where exactly are the score lines and where the cut lines. Now we're going to fold our cardstock in an accordion shape. That means that we're changing the direction of the fold to resemble a W. Actually, I'm going to switch the directions. Doesn't really matter. It's just that I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. So you basically end up with a W like this, or an M. And then you need to burnish your folds really well. And then you need to fold that little score line that we did between the 2 cut lines in the center, only that score line. That will be sort of a little tab that will help us glue the mechanism to the page. And you do that on the other side as well. Now we need to reverse our direction of the folds on the top and on the bottom. So each fold If that was a mountain, it will be a valley, and if it's a valley, then it becomes a mountain. Only on the top and the bottom. So we're going to have something that looks like this. Just make sure that you fold them all in the right direction, like this. This is what you should have after all the folds are in the right direction. That will ensure that it moves as it should. So this is our pop-up mechanism. You can cover it with the cover papers at this point, but I like to attach it to our page first and then add the cover papers. So we're going to start with our left side. Apply glue on the bottom of the top and bottom squares and that little tab that we made on the edge, if you remember. This is going to be attached to the left side of our page while it's open, of course, like this. So we're going to attach it, and we're going to align that square on the left side with the edge, with the left edge, and we're going to align it about an inch or an inch and a half from the edge. We don't want it to be popping out of the edge. And then we're going to apply glue to the bottom of the top and bottom squares on the other side, including that little tab. And what we're going to do is simply close the page, and that will ensure that the mechanism is positioned correctly. And when we open it, just make sure it's burnished well and let it dry for a few seconds so it will work properly. And that's how it works. If you see that those 3 rows don't work properly, it might be because they are too close to each other. So you might want to just cut them very, very slightly, make them narrower by less than 1/16 of an inch, just to make sure that they don't brush against each other and interfere with the movement. So basically this is our mechanism. It's really cool. You need to print or cut photos to size, because these are 8 photos that are smaller than the usual size. And the next thing I'm doing is just covering my page with all the cover papers. And I remind you that I usually or always cover my page with cover papers instead of photos, but other than the pieces that are not on the pop-up mechanism, all the other squares are photos, intended for photos. So instead of using paper, of course you can use paper if you want to, but if you want to fill your mini album with photos, then this is where the photos go. I just put papers to show you how it looks. So basically all the space where I put the dotted paper is for cover papers, and the others are for the photos. Of course, by the way, if you want, you can add photos to where I'm putting the dotted paper as well. It's basically free space that you can still add papers to, photos to. And I remind you that all the measurements are in the cutting guide that you can download, and it's always a good idea to cut all your pieces in advance. So basically I'm finishing with covering all my squares, and this is our page. It's always a good idea to work, open and close it a little bit, work it so the mechanism will work properly. Still needs a little bit of help to move. Isn't that cool? Really like this page. So this was our first pop-up page. That is really cool. Next I'm going to show you another idea to make a pop-up page in your album, but this one you can also combine a few together and make an entire mini album from them. So go ahead and pre-cut your pieces. So you have a link to the measurements in the description under the video with a cutting guide and all the measurements that you need to pre-cut all your pieces. So we're going to start with our larger piece and fold it in half. This is going to be the base of our mini album. And then the medium size piece, we're going to score it at 2.5, 5, and 7.5. These are going to be our pages. This is going to be the pop-up in the mini album. So score it at 2.5, 5, and 7.5. And then the last piece, the smallest piece on the short side, score it at 1 3/4. This is going to be our mechanism. And then we're going to take a pencil and mark on the long side at 2 1/4, both on the top and the bottom, and at 5 3/4, also both on the top and the bottom. And now we're going to score diagonally, connecting the two marks that we did on each side in an X shape. So align the 2 points and score diagonally, and then align the other 2 points and score as well. And this is, like I said, is going to be the mechanism. So this is what you should get. So we're going to fold the straight line in one direction and the diagonal lines in the other direction. And now you're going to see that the mechanism almost folds itself. You're going to bring the straight edges towards the middle, and then you'll form that little triangle on the top. And this is the mechanism that is going to pop up with the pages. Just burnish everything really well. Fold the pop-up pages in an accordion shape. Burnish that as well. Now we're going to attach the mechanism to the base of the mini album. So we're going to find the center and mark it with a pencil at 2 inches. And then we're going to apply glue on the back side of the triangle on the mechanism. And then we're going to attach it while the point of the triangle aligns with the pencil mark that we did in the middle. Make sure to close it and then burnish it really well. Now we're going to apply glue on the triangle on the top and close the top side of the base and wait for a few seconds until the glue is dry, and then open it to see how it works. And this is how it works. Next we're going to attach the pages, but before we attach them it will be easier to cover them now with our cover papers. And basically the pop-up is going to be horizontal, not like it is now on my desk. So it's going to be like this. So if you have direction on the cover papers, make sure that they are glued horizontally like this, because this is the direction that it will be when we open the mini album. So I'm covering each of my panels in a different color, but in a matching pattern. All papers are from the same collection. And then I'll be able to attach the mechanism to the pages. Okay. Now, let's bring back, open it completely, and then again bring a ruler and a pencil and mark on the top here again the center, which is 2 inches. Now we're going to fold the pages like this and align the center fold line with that mark that we did, and then with the pencil draw 2 lines, and where the X's are is where we're going to apply our glue. So basically it's from the pencil line until the fold line like this in opposite corners. So apply glue to these corners, and then we're going to attach the pages again by aligning the center fold line with the pencil mark that we did, and aligning the pages with the top and the bottom of that open mechanism. Burnish it well, and then before you open and close it, make sure that it is dry. So until it's dry, you can go ahead and cover the inside of the mini album with the cover papers. On both sides. And by the way, instead of cover papers, you can always add photos and cover the inside of the mini album as well as the pages with photos instead. So now you need to close. We're going to fold it inside like this. Make sure the center pops out like this, that the mechanism folds inward like this. And then you will need to work it a few times to teach it where it needs to go. So the first times are not going to be as smooth, but when you keep working it, you will see it will become easier. So this was our second page, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. And thank you very much, and I will see you next time.